and welcome to Built for Weekends, the podcast for people who count down to Friday, plan trips in their heads during meetings, and believe the best memories don't happen indoors. I'm your host, Mark. I'm a dad, a truck guy, a weekend adventurer, and like a lot of you, I spend most of my week working hard so I can enjoy the time that actually feels like mine. This podcast is about trucks, gear, camping, fishing, road trips, but more than that, it's about making weekends count, even when life is busy. This is episode 1, and today I want to explain why this podcast exists, who it's for, and what you can expect moving forward. Let's get into it. Let's be honest, most of our lives are spent in the routine. Monday to Friday is work, responsibilities, deadlines, schedules, and stress. And that's just reality. I'm not here to pretend otherwise. But the problem is this. Somewhere along the way, we stopped protecting our weekends. They turned into errand days, catch-up days, chore days, or worse, just recovery days where nothing memorable happens. And I realized something a few years ago. When the weekends disappear, life starts to blur together. You don't remember random Tuesdays, you remember trips. You remember the campfires, trails, breakdowns, laughs, and last-minute plans that somehow turned into stories. For me, it became really clear once I had a kid. I noticed that the weekends where we did something, even something small, were the weekends that stuck. And the weekends where we didn't, they vanished. That's when I started building everything around one question. How do I make this weekend better than the last one? And that question became the foundation for Built for Weekends. Now, before we go any further, I want to clear something up. Because when I say truck on this podcast, I don't always mean an actual pickup. A truck can be a lot of things. For some people, it's a lifted F-150 or a Tacoma built for dirt roads. For others, it's an SUV, a wagon, a van, a motorcycle, or even a beat-up hatchback with a cooler in the back. And for some people, a truck isn't a vehicle at all. It's whatever gets you out of the house and into your weekend. Your truck might be a kayak strapped to a roof rack, a fly rod by the door, or a tent that lives permanently in the trunk. A backpack that's always packed and ready to go, or even just a mindset that says, we're going, figure it out later. And when I talk about building your truck, I'm really talking about removing friction. Removing those little obstacles that stop you from leaving. Gear that's hard to access. Plans that take too much effort. Setups that feel overwhelming. Once those barriers are gone, adventure becomes normal. That's why this show isn't about owning the perfect rig. It's about creating a setup, physical or mental, that turns in maybe into a let's go. So whether your truck has 4 doors, 2 wheels, or no engine at all, you belong here. Because Built for Weekends isn't about what you drive. It's about how you use your time. Your truck is just the tool that gets you there. I've met people with completely stock vehicles who have better stories than guys with fully built rigs. And I've also met people who built trucks that they'll never use. The goal here is balance. I want to talk about smart upgrades, practical gear, what actually improves your experience, and what's just Instagram noise. Because a truck that helps you say yes to more weekends outside is infinitely better than the one that looks good in the driveway. And that philosophy drives everything on this podcast. Built for Weekends didn't start as a podcast idea. It started as a mindset. I found myself consistently planning trips, builds, and gear upgrades around one thing: how much value they added to my weekends. If something made it easier to leave town Friday night, worth it. If something saved setup time so I could relax sooner, worth it. And if something helped my family enjoy being outside more comfortably, absolutely worth it. At some point I realized I was already doing the research, testing gear and making mistakes, and learning my lessons. And it felt stupid not to share that. This podcast exists to, first, save you time, save you money. Second, help you avoid bad buys. And third, give you ideas you can actually use, whether it be gear or plans and trip ideas. I've got no gatekeeping, no pretending, just my real world experiences. Let me be clear about who this show is for and who it isn't. This podcast is for you if you work hard during the week, you value your time more than things, you want to build a setup that fits your lifestyle, and you enjoy learning from other people's mistakes. You believe adventure doesn't need to be extreme to be meaningful. You don't need a lifted truck, and you don't need the newest gear. You also don't need to spend 30 nights a year camping. If you've got 48 hours and the urge to do something, you belong here. This podcast is not about flexing builds or chasing trends. It's about building a life that leaves room for adventure. So here's what's coming up on this podcast. You'll hear episodes about must-have truck accessories and what's overrated, weekend-friendly camping setups, fishing trips, quick escapes and road trips, budget versus premium gear comparisons, my own truck build, the good decisions and the bad ones, interviews with people who actually use their gear, and mindset episodes about time, priorities, and balance. Some episodes will be solo like this, some will be conversational, some will be deep dives, and some will just be stories. But every episode will have one goal: help you get more out of your weekends. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. This weekend, don't overthink it. Do one thing that breaks your routine. Take a drive with no destination. Visit a trail you've never walked. Cook outside instead of inside. Take your kids somewhere they've never been, or just park somewhere quiet and sit for a bit. Small weekends still count. And if you do it, I want to hear about it. Tag Build for Weekends on all the social medias. Send a message, leave a comment. This podcast works best when it becomes a community and not just a download. So thanks for listening to episode 1 of Built for Weekends. This is where it all begins. If this episode resonated with you, hit the follow so you don't miss what's coming next. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that life doesn't pause until vacations. I'm Mark, and remember, you are built for weekends. See you next time.